Break northwards to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Good morning, everyone. Coming up on Good Morning Maine, a fire broke out last night at a mobile home park in Hamden. We'll bring you the latest coming up.
Plus, the legislature's Labor Committee is calling on Governor Janet Mills to secure a contract with essential workers in the state. And many folks gathered in Bangor over the weekend for the annual Pride Parade and the Charlie Howard Vigil. We'll have that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We hope you had a wonderful weekend. They go by too quick. They do. Especially this time of year. Well, the weather actually turned out to be quite nice, especially yesterday. Yeah, the weather was great. I got a lot of things done outside. You went swimming all weekend. I did. Huh? I was just in the water. Nothing wrong with that. If you decided to pick this week as your week to take a vacation week in Maine, you picked a good week too. Yeah. It's going to be very summer-like. It sure is. Yeah. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have an extreme heat watch that's in effect for the southwestern parts of the state, and that will last until about Friday at around 8 p.m. as we watch for some extreme heat index values of at least 110 degrees that will be on the way until about that time frame. So that is why this has been issued. So some dangerous heat will be on the way coming up rather soon. As we do check things out, the radar and satellite looking rather quiet, just some clouds that have been passing through. It will be a very nice day with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. Let's zoom things out. High pressure is in dominant control with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. A pattern change will be taking place coming up soon, which will allow some showers and thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today, some clouds on the way later on tonight. It will be tomorrow, primarily in the eastern parts of the state, where showers and thunderstorms will be developing. So your hourly forecast taking place, lots of sunshine today with temperatures warming into the 80s, upper 80s actually. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, firefighters from several departments had their hands full with a bad fire last night in Hamden. They were called to a mobile home park on North Main Street where a trailer had burst into flames. This video was sent to us of the fire at the Hamden Mobile Estates. The video was reportedly taken between 9 and 9:30 last night. A woman who lives there tells us that she was in the process of cooking pork chops when that fire broke out. Fire crews from Hamden and neighboring towns worked quickly to make sure everyone made it out safely and began dumping water onto that raging fire. There are no injuries reported, and we're told some family pets are also made it out of there. There's also word that the Red Cross was called in to help the residents with their immediate needs. We'll have more information as that investigation continues today.
Maine Warden Service divers recovered the body of a Lewiston teenager who slipped and fell into the Androscoggin River while fishing on Friday night. The Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says 18-year-old Silo Eromva of Lewiston was fishing with friends near the Gulf Island Dam on the Androscoggin River on Switzerland Road around 7:30 Friday night. And that's when he fell into the water after slipping on a rock while trying to untangle a fishing lure from a tree branch. The search for him began that night, and the department notified media Saturday afternoon that the body was recovered by Warden Service divers from the river.
A Waterville man was arrested on Saturday for allegedly kidnapping a 4-year-old. According to the Fairfield Police Department, Officer Casey Dugas, police were dispatched to Main Street in Fairfield for a report of a missing 4-year-old. Officer Dugas says that information was then developed that led them to a residence in Waterville where they later found the child. Authorities then arrested 37-year-old Brandon Fair of Waterville, a man police say is not related to the child but is known to be one of the residents at the Fairfield home. Fair was transported to the Somerset County Jail where he's charged with kidnapping and criminal restraint, and his bail was set at $500,000 cash. Authorities anticipate more charges as that investigation continues, and the child was transported to a local hospital out of precaution.
Well, the Bangor Police Department says a suspicious package was found in the downtown area near the route of Saturday's Pride Parade. The package found that morning was cleared by the bomb squad, and the incident was resolved a few hours after its discovery. Bangor police closed downtown intersections during the investigation, and anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Gorecki, whose email could be found on our website.
Well, Maine rededicated a memorial to give families a place to remember loved ones. Allison LaPierre reports from the Maine Murder Victims Memorial Ceremony.
Remembering those whose lives were taken from them.
It's an honor to stand with you today as we remember and pay tribute to those whose lives were taken through the actions of another.
Today, families, friends, and supporters gathered at the Holy Family Cemetery in Augusta as names were added to the Maine Murder Victims Memorial Monument.
Today we gather to share how the Maine Murder Victims Memorial stands as a lasting tribute to those taken from us.
During the 13th annual rededication ceremony, surviving family members, friends, and supporters of victims laid down roses to honor the lives who were taken. The Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children hosts a ceremony on the last Sunday of June every year to rededicate the monument and serve as a lasting tribute to victims of homicide across the state.
Names that are being added, their families know that we're with them. We aren't going to forget their loved ones.
This year, 18 names were added to the memorial.
For some members of Parents of Murdered Children, this monument serves as like a grave site they can go and reflect and think about their loved ones.
Group leaders say this memorial gives families and loved ones a chance to remember those who they have lost, but also connect with others who are grieving.
That we don't want anyone else to join our group, but when they have to, we will accept them and we try to help guide them.
Allison LaPierre reporting. Meanwhile, the chairs of the legislature's Labor Committee are calling on the governor to secure a contract with state workers. The workers include those who dispatch 911 calls, inspect drinking water, staff state prisons, and protect children from child abuse, as well as other essential jobs. In a statement, Representative Amy Roeder of Bangor, who co-chairs the Labor Committee, said, quote, "The administration is not negotiating, they're going backward. It's stunning to see after 11 months, Senator Mike Tipping, who represents Central and Northern Penobscot County, said, quote, state workers have now bargained themselves down to a contract that increases less than inflation. They're actually offering to take a pay cut. It goes on to say, quote, now they are ignoring this more than fair offer, ignoring the independent fact-finding, and have cut their initial offer by around $1,000 per worker. It's the definition of operating in bad faith." A statement from a Mills administration spokesperson says in part, quote, the administration remains steadfast in forging an agreement with MSEA that improves compensation and benefits for their members and also recognizes the fiscal responsibility the administration has to Maine taxpayers.
In other news, online gambling in Maine could soon go beyond sports betting. A casino group is discussing a partnership with 3 Wabanaki nations, which will bring online casino gaming to Maine. Online gambling has been available in Maine since 2023 and creates millions of dollars in tax revenue. Caesars Entertainment says that the partnership will grow that platform while investing in the state. The group is looking to start iGaming in the state. It's an online casino that can be accessed right from your phone. The group says it will invest in the local workforce by training members of each Wabanaki nation and providing financial support to help fund the tribal community programs. The platform is set to be launched in Maine by next year, and it would include table games like blackjack, poker, and much more. It became legal in Maine this year, but the state is currently in the rulemaking process for how it will all work. Oxford Casino and Sportsbook have challenged the law in court, which only allows the tribes to offer online betting. They argue this law gives the tribes an unfair monopoly. A senior VP for Caesars says that this is another platform Mainers can enjoy from anywhere.
People love to bet on sports and they love to do it on their phones. So now we're going to provide another product that they can wager on right in the palms of their hand.
Officials will discuss the rulemaking process and establish how iGaming will work next month.
Well, a scam is going around Bangor and is enticing people to attend fun events. The only catch is they're not real. The downtown Bangor partnership is encouraging folks to be aware and cautious of where their money and personal information is going. Callie Warren has more.
So many scams, and it makes me very frustrated.
That frustration comes from fake events, causing growing concern in Bangor as scam artists look to cash in on people searching for something to do on the weekend.
We were disappointed to see this sort of very shiny looking website and events that are in the future. This company has a number of Better Business Bureau comments about people who have had really scammy experiences with them, where the organizations have not, the events just haven't happened.
A company called Luna Ticketing claims to be a third-party ticket seller to several events, including some in Bangor, that Bouchard says are both costly and completely false.
I mean, now there are all kinds of tells, right? Like misspellings and all AI photos and not a lot of comments on their Facebook pages, even though there are people who are interested in going.
Bouchard reached out to representatives for Luna Ticketing, but says she has not heard back. On the Better Business Bureau website, several report paying hundreds of dollars for experiences they never received.
I mean, these are all people who fell for these in other communities, and $138, $98, $184.
If you or someone you know fell victim to any scam, contact your local police department. Bouchard adds that if you have doubts about an event, reach out to that event's organizer.
Most of our local events are run by folks and our people in our communities, organizations in our communities, our very robust art scene.
For those looking to stay busy in Bangor, Bouchard says that there are plenty of real events by real people to enjoy.
Every weekend, every week, they are all real. Real actual events, real actual people.
In Bangor, Callie Morin, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Got to be cautious about everything these days.
Always good to be mindful.
Yeah.
The time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, communities statewide are still stepping up to help those impacted by the Robbins Lumber Mill fire. We'll take you to the Belmont Benefit Dinner coming up.
But first, another look at that sunny forecast. A beautiful day ahead today with high temperatures around 87 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, the clouds move back in with a chance of passing thunderstorms. High temperatures around 87. We'll be right back.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at eatonpaving.com.
30 years living the Washington, D.C. lifestyle changes people. Getting rich from insider trading should be illegal. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins is trying to keep it so senators can get rich playing the stock market. They're making millions of dollars, while we can't even afford groceries and gas. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop the congressional stock trading.
Is your Maine issued license or ID expiring soon? Good news. You may be able to skip the trip to the BMV and renew it online, including if your license or state ID is Real ID compliant. Visit maine.gov/SOS/BMV today to find out if you're eligible to renew online. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
One of Central Maine's largest Pride festivals was held on Saturday. Hundreds of people made their way to downtown Bangor for the annual Pride Parade and festivities. This year's festivities featured numerous entertainers, vendors, organizations, and community members. The parade route started on Main Street and wove its way through the Queen City until settling at the Bangor waterfront. The event has been celebrated in Bangor for over 3 decades now. Organizers say this year's theme was Color Our World with Pride.
Community members gathered in downtown Bangor yesterday to remember the life and death of Charlie Howard, a Bangor man who was killed in the 1980s for being openly gay. Our Grace Blanchard with that story.
It's a constant recognition that something impactful happened in this place. It's been more than 4 decades since the death of Charlie Howard, but for some Bangor residents, it feels like yesterday.
It is just the memories, it's mixed emotions. There's the sadness, the anger, but also the love and the opportunity to love and be loved is who you are.
On July 7, 1984, Howard was walking down State Street with his partner when 3 teenagers attacked him. The 3 boys threw Howard over the State Street Bridge into the Kentuskeg Stream. As a result, he drowned. Charlie Howard was 23 years old. His death is credited by many as launching the gay rights movement in Bangor.
The folks we consider in the Pride community today have been resilient throughout history.
Just recently, a pride mural near the Charlie Howard Memorial was defaced, repainted, and then vandalized again, leading one local to take her anger and turn it into pride t-shirts.
My thought was, so what can I do that just says that is not the way that everybody is? And so I made some art.
Groups like Bangor Pride continue to organize a vigil near his memorial to remember Charlie and the lasting impact of his death.
The more we can unify all of these voices together to remember history and remember where we've come from and how far we still have to go, the better.
For Jim Beckett and his husband, the first gay men to be married in the Queen City in 2012 after it was legalized, the vigil sparked mixed emotions.
But more than once I could have ended up like Charlie Howard for equally silly, inane reasons.
I really hope that people take away that we're all human, we're all here for one another in this limited time on this planet, so we should all just love and care for each other.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, it's been more than a month since the fire and explosion at the Robbins Lumber Mill in Searsmont, and many people are still recovering. Communities statewide continue to step up to support those who have been impacted. And on Sunday, the town of Belmont held a benefit dinner and silent auction to benefit Belmont firefighter Lieutenant Catherine Page and Searsmont Assistant Fire Chief Wayne Woodsbury. Woodbury died on June 14th from injuries he sustained battling the Searsmont fire. A funeral service was held for him in Belfast last week. Firefighter Page sustained severe burns from the explosion and has been receiving treatment at Maine Medical Center in Portland since that fire on May 15th. According to Belmont Fire Chief Ron Harford, Woodbury was a longtime resident of Belmont and also donated the land that the fire station is on.
He was the chief here in Belmont for a couple of years, a long time ago. Kind of got down and moved on to Searsmont, and he was been around a long time. I mean, 60 years between Belmont and Searsmont Fire Department. So it was very right that we do it for both of them.
Well, the silent auction featured more than 100 items, and the money raised from the event will go toward firefighter Page's medical expenses and to the estate of Wayne Woodbury. According to Chief Hartford, they are hopeful to see firefighter Page return home within the next couple of weeks.
Well, 2 Maine high schoolers were officially crowned world champion fishermen over the weekend. Nolan Savage from Bangor High School and Jack Nass from Waterville finished in first place in the 17th annual High School Fishing World Finals. Their 3-fish limited scale in at 12:10. The competition was held at Lake Cumberland in Russell Springs, Kentucky.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun.
They look pretty happy, too.
They sure do. Well, the time now is 6:18. After the break, it was a weekend of attacks between the U.S. and Iran. We'll tell you about the most recent agreement coming up.
Plus, the country is experiencing extreme weather from fires to floods. We'll explain as Good Morning Maine continues.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just 1 block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold.
However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Consider a Rinnai direct vent wall furnace from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Pequot region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover-Foxcroft.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just one block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
Now to the nation's weather extremes and their cost in lives lost. There are dozens of major wildfires burning across the American West in hot, dry conditions. One of those fires claiming the lives of 3 firefighters.
Meanwhile, others did not survive flash flooding in Kentucky, where search efforts in flooded areas continues. Here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
This morning, weather extremes turning deadly. At the Utah-Colorado border, 3 firefighters have been killed, trapped by the fire they were battling.
It's the ultimate sacrifice, and we never like to hear when that happens. We take a step back and we reassess how we're doing things.
Widespread drought conditions and gusty winds fueling multiple fires in the region, triggering a state of emergency and a second round of evacuations in some areas. One rancher near Eureka, Utah, describing the scene as apocalyptic. A far different emergency in Kentucky, flash flooding blamed for at least 4 deaths.
We have been hit really hard, wiping out roads and bridges, and sadly, even taking a handful of lives.
I guess it's like kind of scary. Our backyard, it has a lot of water.
With rescues and evacuations in the downpour, this video showing the moment water breaks through a fence, firefighters pulling a driver to safety in this video posted to social media, and this car floating away in the strong current. A different extreme for parts of the Rockies leading up to the 4th of July. The Georgetown Lake region of Montana bracing for up to 3 feet of snow. But far more Americans are bracing for a dangerous heat wave this holiday week. Heat alerts issued for more than 100 million Americans from Kansas to Massachusetts. Triple-digit temps are expected from the Midwest into the Northeast.
Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Well, as he said, we're going to be dealing with our own hot weather around here on and off this week. It's going to get pretty darn hot.
It is. Yeah. It sure is. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Here's another look at that extreme heat watch. It's in effect until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Friday. We're concerned with heat index values that will be reaching at around 110 degrees at times, so dangerous heat in effect. So definitely make sure your air conditioners are working or have plans in effect to deal with the extreme heat that will be on the way coming up. In the meantime, ocean temperatures in the lower 60s, while other places in the 50s and 60s further out towards sea. So the ocean may be a reprieve, but definitely be careful. This will be a drastic difference, so we definitely want to be careful with that if you're heading to the ocean to be cooling off rather soon. But meanwhile, on land, it is very quiet out there this morning. Not much cloud cover. That is really cleared out in a hurry with high pressure that's in dominant control, but it's not going to stay that way. The high pressure will be breaking down rather soon. We'll have some activity moving in that will allow some showers and some thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today. We'll have some clouds approaching later on tonight. As we head towards tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine. Notice some clouds and a few thunderstorms in the eastern parts of the state. This is approaching from northwest to southeast. Some more thunderstorms continuing as we head towards, again, Tuesday night and the Wednesday morning. So again, we are going to be seeing things getting humid coming up, especially as we head towards late Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. So summer arriving in a big hurry with higher dew points on the way, and of course higher temperatures too in the 80s and 90s for the next several days. So be be ready for the heat and humidity. So for today, we have upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, and that southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, the pattern changes a bit. Upper 80s, mostly cloudy, a few thunderstorms expected, especially in the eastern parts of the state, and that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, some more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid 80s. And then check out Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid 90s. And then Friday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Looking for great food and hometown flavor? Riverside Grill is your favorite spot for juicy burgers, choices on seafood, and more. Fresh food served with a smile every day.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
On Dancing with the Stars, The Next Pro, 12 of the best dancers join me for the audition of a lifetime.
I'm here to win.
Woo! This is what hunger looks like.
Nothing is gonna stop me.
Now watch me move.
Maine's farms are being sold to China. Chinese criminal networks are infiltrating rural Maine. But Senator Susan Collins is fighting back. Susan Collins voted to stop China from buying up our farmland. And Collins is helping to crack down on Chinese organized crime. Collins delivered millions in more resources for local law enforcement, protecting our families, our farms, and bringing big money back home to Maine. Call and tell Senator Susan Collins to keep protecting rural Maine.
This week, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday with Coca-Cola.
Celebrate a new chance to win at home with Coca-Cola, sponsor of Universal Destinations and Experiences in the Drink in America giveaway.
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Well, it was a weekend of renewed attacks between the U.S. and Iran after a deal was signed just 10 days ago. Overnight, the two countries have agreed to stop strikes and allow ships to move freely through the Strait of Hormuz, according to a U.S. official. ABC's Karen Hua has the latest.
The U.S. and Iran have agreed to stop attacking each other in the Strait of Hormuz and to allow ships to move through freely. This after a weekend of renewed strikes by the U.S. on Iran. According to Central Command, the U.S. first struck Iran in direct response to continued Iranian aggression against commercial shipping. President Trump warned, there may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we very successfully started. Hours later, Iran retaliated by targeting U.S. military sites in Kuwait and Bahrain. Iranian officials warn American bases in the region will be experiencing hell during these days. The Iranian military released a picture that appears to show a message on one of the missiles launched. Quote, "The only success of Trump is the increased income of American coffin makers and wheelchair manufacturers for his soldiers in this defeated war."
The president's patience isn't going to last forever, but they need to understand their leverage is diminishing by the day.
The memorandum of understanding signed less than 2 weeks ago says Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz free for anyone to pass through. But now Iran is apparently reversing itself. Its foreign minister claims Iran alone controls the strait, clashing with the international community's position that the strait is under no country's control. As for what's next, a U.S. official tells ABC News technical talks about details of the deal are going ahead as planned this week, but it's unclear how long it will take to smooth things over again. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, record-breaking extreme heat in France last week is increasing daily death tolls and creating stress on funeral homes. Workers at a funeral home in Paris are flooded with requests due to recent deaths of high death numbers from heat. Public Health France says that there were 1,200 deaths last Wednesday, 1,400 deaths on Thursday, and 1,400 on Friday. 85% of the deaths are among those 65 and older, with high increases of deaths in their own homes. The owner of one funeral home requesting to temporarily install refrigerated containers outside for storage, and other funeral homes in the area also running out of options for storage, with City Hall and hospitals providing additional spaces. Some bodies stored as far as 50 miles away from Paris. Historic high temperatures from 2003 have since been surpassed in this recent heat wave and were blamed for 15,000 deaths, raising awareness about the care of older people in hot heat waves.
Well, hope is finding more people alive after the earthquake devastation in Venezuela is fading by the hour. More than 1,400 people have been killed and the death toll is climbing. But families are still hoping for more miraculous rescues. Rena Roy has more.
The U.S. and Iran have agreed to stop attacking each other in the Strait of Hormuz and to allow ships to move through freely. This after a weekend of renewed strikes by the U.S. on Iran. According to Central Command, the U.S. first struck Iran in direct response to continued Iranian aggression against commercial shipping.
Apparently, we're having problems with that story. We'll try to get that re-racked for you, and we'll have that a little later on in the broadcast. We're going to take a break now. We'll be back with more right after this.
You build more than projects. You build what communities rely on. When the job site runs on results, put Kubota to work. Backed by expert service and support from your local Kubota dealer. Right now, bring home select Kubota KX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000. Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Keep the celebration going for the guy who's always there, fixing, helping, and keeping life moving. With Gear Wrench Mega Mods toolkits built to take on any job. And power up with Milwaukee Red Lithium Battery 2-packs for $199. And get a free M18 Fuel Impact Wrench. With Maine's largest network of parts in 30 locations, Coastal Auto Parts makes it easy to get Dad the right tool fast. Help Dad do it himself with quality tools and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Looking for great food and hometown flavor? Riverside Grill is your favorite spot for juicy burgers, choices on seafood, and more. Fresh food served with a smile every day.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, June 29th, 2026. Where did June go?
For real.
Crazy. This is also International Fisherman Day.
This special day casts appreciation on fishermen all around the globe. It recognizes their essential role in providing food and support for our economies. This is a good day to learn about the challenges facing fishermen and to show our support.
Such a dangerous and important job
really
out there.
Yeah, our Maine lobstermen definitely have to give them all the support.
Yeah, and by the way, we are going to be airing the lobster boat races down in Stonington for the very first time.
So
I don't think they've ever been aired on TV before. That's coming up next week, so we look forward to getting down there and tipping our hat to the local fishermen.
Definitely.
All right, time for history. It was on this day in history back in 1767. The British Parliament approved the Townshend Revenue Acts, which imposed new import duties on everything from glass to tea, which was shipped to America, a move that helped spark the revolt that led to the American Revolution. In 1613 on this day, London's original Globe Theatre was destroyed by a fire, which was sparked by a cannon, which was fired during a performance of Henry VIII. The theatre was where many of Shakespeare's plays were performed. No one was hurt except a man whose burning breeches were put out with a bottle of ale.
Oh my goodness.
His bottom was on fire. And in 1860, the first iron pile lighthouse was completed at Minot's Ledge in Massachusetts.
And in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty could constitute cruel and unusual punishment, a ruling that prompted the states to revise their capital punishment laws. In 1995, the space shuttle Discovery docked with the Russian space station Mir. Together, they formed the largest artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. The historic moment of cooperation between the former rival space programs marked the beginning of a new era of friendship and cooperation between the U.S. and Russia. And lastly, in 2007, the first version of the iPhone went on sale to the public, and more than 2.3 billion iPhones have been sold to date.
It seems like they've been around forever now.
Yeah,
but,
it seems longer than that for some reason, but you know, they had the iPod and all that stuff first.
True.
Very cool.
Only in 2007.
Yeah.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Camila Mendez, who is 32 today. Comedian Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live is 44. And actor Gary Busey, he's crazy. He's just crazy. He's 82 today.
I love that photo you picked of him.
Yeah, right? It's just appropriate for Gary. He's gotten a little bit more weird as the years have gone along.
Yeah.
You know, it's entertaining though. So
for
I've been
sure.
a fan of Gary Busey. I'm not trying to knock Gary, but he's crazy.
He's just crazy.
Yeah.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
I'm a little crazy too, so it takes one to know one.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have an extreme heat watch that's in effect for the southwestern parts of the state, and that will last until about Friday at around 8 p.m. as we watch for some extreme heat index values of at least 110 degrees that will be on the way until about that time frame. So that is why this has been issued. So some dangerous heat will be on the way coming up rather soon. As we do check things out, the radar and satellite looking rather quiet, just some clouds that have been passing through. It will be a very nice day with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. Let's zoom things out. High pressure is in dominant control with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. A pattern change will be taking place coming up soon, which will allow some showers and thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today, some clouds on the way later on tonight. It will be tomorrow, primarily in the eastern parts of the state, where showers and thunderstorms will be developing. So your hourly forecast taking place, lots of sunshine today with temperatures warming into the 80s, upper 80s actually. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Going to want to wear your sunblock today.
Definitely. Don't want to get burnt. Well, yesterday marked the celebration of a well-known lumberjack. June 28th is National Paul Bunyan Day. Described as a giant lumberjack of unusual skill, Paul Bunyan is one of the most famous North American folklore heroes. The lumberjack has become a staple of American culture and a symbol of the nation's logging history. While several states claim to be the birthplace of Paul Bunyan, according to a record of birth that is displayed at the Bangor City Hall, Paul was actually born in the Queen City on February 12, 1834, and the 31-foot tall statue of Paul Bunyan on Main Street remains one of Bangor's biggest attractions.
It sure does. A lot of people have had their photos taken right there.
I have, many times,
have you?
yes. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
Being raped is one of the worst fears that women have. So we take precautions to avoid dangerous situations. Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped because he said we get effed up drunk. Mr. Plattner blamed the rapists, not the women. And now we learn Plattner used an app that's called a predator's paradise for child exploitation. Graham Plattner is disgusting, gross, and unfit for the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Make your outdoor living space dreams come true with a little help from Granville Stone and Hearth. Granville can help you go from this to this. Outdoor fireplaces, custom outdoor kitchens, gorgeous stone patios, and more. You bring the dreams, we'll supply the materials to make it all real. Create your stunning outdoor oasis with help from the experts at Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Welcome back in, folks. I'm Max Sturm in studio with PVHS multi-sport star Riley Moulton. Riley, thank you for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
So first of all, before we get into the sports and all that, you're officially graduated. How's that been? Is it a crazy feeling to know that you're done with high school at this point?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I don't think about it all the time, but like I'll just be going through my day and I'm like, wow, like I'm not going back to school in the fall with the people I've been growing up with the past 12 years. So it's definitely a bit of a different feeling to experience, but it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, your life's changing, but there's also excitement ahead for you, and we'll get to that later. But there's a lot to cover from you from your senior year as well as the rest of your career at PVHS. And I wanted to start with softball because it's the most recent. You guys go out, you make a state championship run. You had played in your 8th grade year, in your freshman year. You took a couple years off, but you decided to come back for your senior year. What was the motive behind that? Why did you go back?
Honestly, I'd been getting asked to play for the past 2 years, and this year I was like, why not? Like, I'd enjoyed having some last few good moments with a lot of my teammates and the girls I've grown up with, so I was like, what's playing one more year? So, and they were more than willing to accept me back, so I'm super grateful for that.
Did the fact that you had multiple teammates from other sports play into that too? Like, I can get one more season with them.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, just like the memories you make from sports in general, that's what makes it so much more like enjoyable. So I mean that's really the real reason I played, was to get some last few moments in with some of these girls.
Now let's talk about your athletic career. You were a 3-sport athlete: soccer, basketball, and softball. You played in 18 total championship games, regional titles, state championships. You won 2 state titles this year, though. Soccer won their 3rd straight. You guys came back with another title for basketball in Class D this year. I remember when I played lacrosse my senior year, winning the regional title was one of the highlight moments for me of my high school career. Did having so much success in your last year just make this year so much more special for you to kind of go out on top in a couple of sports?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it did. Like, obviously, with it being my senior year, I was going to have a lot of lasts anyways, but I think it definitely helped that my lasts for soccer and basketball were wins. It made it a little less easier to handle and deal with, like, wow, like, I'm never going to be playing soccer, playing basketball, or softball in a Lady Heller uniform ever again.
Now, when you guys in basketball were transitioned from Class C to Class D, a lot of people would say, you drop down a level, maybe the competition's a little bit easier. A lot of people saw you guys as underdogs, and yet you still go out and you win that state championship. What was that moment like for you guys to win that basketball state title in your final year, given that some people considered you guys to be underdogs?
Honestly, I think being considered underdogs was the greatest thing for us, especially after going 18-0 the year before, because it just gave us a reason to work a lot harder and gave us something to like motivate us. And so ending it with a win when people said that we wouldn't and people were counting us out, I think for the whole team, it just made things a whole lot sweeter in the end.
And through basketball and softball and soccer, you've had a lot of the same teammates. What have those relationships that you've formed with them meant to you, not only on the field, but also off the field? You said you grew up with most of them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like, I don't know, like you can't really replicate have like the bond that you have with a teammate, because you're seeing, especially like when it's multi-sports, you're seeing these girls all day at school, and then you're going to practice after school for 2 hours, you're doing bus rides with them, you're playing in games with them, and so just the amount of time and like the version of your teammates that you see, because you're seeing stuff that they don't show to everybody else because of how much time you're spending with them. So it's just, I think it makes for a much more genuine connection when you're spending that much time with some of these girls.
And those relationships will last you a lifetime too. Those ones just continue to go on. I'm still in contact with most of my teammates from high school too. Your time at PVHS is over and you've had so much success, but when you look back at your time there, is there a moment or a memory with your team or your teammates, whether it's winning championships or just something that happened day to day, that you look back on, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that memory for the rest of my life?
I mean, honestly, I can think of 2 off the top of my head, one for soccer and one for basketball. The soccer one would be our regional championship my sophomore year versus Wisdom, playing at Herman. We were down 1-0 going into halftime of that game, and it was pouring. We were all soaked, and we had every reason to be down. I mean, the weather was even down for us. But all of a sudden, YMCA started playing on the speaker system, and we all just got up and started dancing. And just that moment, and like it felt like there wasn't any pressure, and it felt like none of us were worried. We were just there with each other, enjoying the game, and knowing that we still had a whole half left to play. And the fact that we ended up winning in the last 5 minutes, I mean, that was just such a surreal experience.
And it seems like those kinds of moments can lead to success too. When you kind of take your head out of what's currently happening on the field and kind of looking forward, you take a little mental break. That stuff can really help you. So you're graduated, you're done with PVHS. What viewers want to know, what's next for Riley Moulton? Where are you going for school? Are you playing sports?
I'm going to the University of Maine at Augusta to study business administration, and I will be on the basketball team next year. So
that's awesome. Well, we wish you good luck with that. And folks, thank you for watching. This is Riley Moulton. I'm Max Sturm. We'll be right back after the break.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold. However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Consider a Rinnai direct vent wall furnace from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Pequot region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover Foxcroft.
Imagine stepping onto your brand new deck, enjoying all the benefits of your expanded outdoor living space. Hammond Lumber Company can help turn that vision into reality. Visit any of Hammond's expansive showrooms and explore a world of possibilities. The timeless beauty of wood, the resilience of composite, or affordable, durable PVC. Railing options from traditional wood to sleek aluminum and contemporary cable railing. On-site consultation and delivery are available. Get started on your new deck when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Some siblings from Newport started a lemonade stand for a special cause that hits very close to home.
Our Sam Miller with that story.
A family of siblings and cousins have been on the sidewalk outside of Brown and Sprout Funeral Home selling treats to the public. Their goal is to help their father get a new heart. Their father is in the hospital waiting for a life-saving heart transplant, and the kids wanted to do something to help. In order to help cover expenses connected to his transplant, such as traveling fees and hotel stays, the kids decided to set up a stand where they sell lemonade, cookies, slushies, and snow cones. Billy Jo Goodwin, the children's grandmother, expressed gratitude towards the public and highlighted their incredible support.
Everybody has been so kind and giving, and a lot of people don't even get the lemonade, they just come to donate, so it's been great. It's been a good learning experience for the kids.
The stand has been open from around noon to 6 p.m. since Monday and has raised over $850. Goodwin says the kids have been extremely brave during this process, admiring their dedication to helping their family.
Really been real strong. And they always want to help out as much as they can. They want to help their parents, and and they've been so proud of their dad being brave, because they were like, we wouldn't want to get surgery, and they've just been great.
The kids will be on the sidewalk all weekend in order to help their father get home safe and sound. In Newport, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a nice thing to do.
Yeah, hopefully they can raise those funds.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Here's another look at that extreme heat watch that's in effect until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Friday. We're concerned with the heat index values that will be reaching at around 110 degrees at times, so dangerous heat in effect. So definitely make sure your air conditioners are working or have plans in effect to deal with the extreme heat that will be on the way coming up. In the meantime, ocean temperatures in the lower 60s, while other places in the 50s and 60s further out towards sea. So the ocean may be a reprieve, but definitely be careful. This will be a drastic difference, so we definitely want to be careful with that if you're heading to the ocean to be cooling off rather soon. But meanwhile, on land, it is very quiet out there this morning. Not much cloud cover. That is really cleared out in a hurry with high pressure that's in dominant control, but it's not going to stay that way. The high pressure will be breaking down rather soon. We'll have some activity moving in that will allow some showers and some thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today. We'll have some clouds approaching later on tonight. As we head towards tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine. Notice some clouds and a few thunderstorms in the eastern parts of the state. This is approaching from northwest to southeast. Some more thunderstorms continuing as we head towards, again, Tuesday night and the Wednesday morning. So again, we are going to be seeing things getting humid coming up, especially as we head towards late Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. So summer arriving in a big hurry with higher dew points on the way, and of course higher temperatures too in the 80s and 90s for the next several days. So be ready for the heat and humidity. So for today, we have upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, and that southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, the pattern changes a bit. Upper 80s, mostly cloudy, a few thunderstorms expected, especially in the eastern parts of the state, and that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, some more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid 80s. And then check out Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid 90s. And then Friday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
I served 2 tours in the Middle East, 21 years in the Air Force.
I served in a field artillery unit.
The Maine National Guard. I respect Graham Plattner's service, but he doesn't respect ours.
Plattner falsely accused a military hero of war crimes.
He said a Purple Heart recipient didn't deserve to live after being shot, trying to save his own troops. And Plattner blames his Nazi tattoo on military culture? That's insulting. Graham Plattner's a fraud. He's unfit to represent Maine.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Situated in Jonesboro on the coast of Maine lies Barren View Golf Course, a true links course that's a treat for golfers of all skill levels. We feature a driving range, putting green, practice sand trap, pro shop, and snack bar. Open 7 days a week. Please call ahead for a tee time.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard Parks.
Disney celebrates America. The pursuit of happiness. The event special premieres tonight on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Residents in Old Town will be getting a surprise in about 50 years. On Saturday afternoon, members of the Old Town Museum buried a time capsule beside the flagpole on its property in celebration of 50 years of being an organization. According to museum member Monique Bouchard, it contains pennies, a cell phone, a flyer from Hannaford's to show what the prices of food were, a copy of Old Town's magazine, The Community Connector, information about the museum, matchbooks, and a USB stick full of documents about their 50th anniversary. She
Give
says
somebody a little something to kind of like look forward to so that they'll be inspired to commemorate that moment so that the next 50 years or 100 years can be viewed and seen.
She says the ceremony wasn't intentionally meant to also commemorate America's 250th anniversary, but it was a nice tie-in regardless. The time capsule will now be open 50 years from now.
How about that? I love time capsules.
Yeah, that's so fun.
That's the third time Monique's been in this newscast, too.
Yes.
So, just happened to be that way.
That's funny.
Well, it's a true animal house in Berlin, Germany, with better behavior, of course, and none of the human college wild antics. A family of African elephants have returned to Berlin's Tierpark Zoo after a 6-year absence. The family of elephants is made up of a mother elephant, a daughter elephant, and 3 of the offspring of the daughter elephant. The zoo is resuming elephant keeping while work is being done on a new elephant complex. The elephants left Tierpark in 2020 while the zoo rebuilt its facilities. And they have now moved into a new African savanna habitat designed eventually to house a larger herd. Tierpark's zookeeper now proudly says the zoo has the largest elephant house in the world. Zookeepers say the elephants quickly adjusted to being back and they seem interested in their new habitat. Zoo officials say the elephant house is expected to be fully completed in 2027, but visitors can begin seeing the elephants again as early as Saturday.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And the Seattle Aquarium is embracing World Cup pride by bringing it to their guests and sea animals. The aquarium hosted an interactive Ocean Cup bracket where fans could vote for their favorite animals to build a marine soccer team. They also added special World Cup themed treats to the otter exhibit, and guests could see the otters play with different soccer ice treats and other enrichment toys.
Everybody's got the World Cup fever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour.
Have a great day, everyone.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Happy Endings in downtown Bangor. This is where a delicious dinner meets a great drink. From the first bite to the last, Happy Endings serves the kind of meal you don't rush. And behind the bar, smooth, crisp drinks made just right. Perfect for date night, a night out, or your new favorite stop downtown. Happy Endings, 32 Main Street, Bangor. Open 7 days a week, 4 to midnight. Follow us on Facebook for specials and events.
Bikers are known for giving back, helping others in need.
helping Mainers get back on their feet. At the law offices of Joe Bornstein, being Maine's motorcycle lawyers is something we wear proudly, fighting and winning for injured bikers since 1974. We know the Maine roads and the Maine laws. That's why injured bikers know to call Joe, because accidents happen to be our specialty. Born to ride? Keep Joe by your side. Maine's motorcycle lawyers.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. From the Great North Woods to the Rock Mount Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a fire broke out last night at a mobile home park in Hamden. We'll bring you the latest coming up.
Plus, a casino group is discussing partnership with Wabanaki Nations for online gambling.
And many folks gathered in Bangor over the weekend for the annual Pride Parade and Charlie Howard Vigil. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll have those stories and all the day's news coming up over the next hour. But first, to check out that forecast, and today's going to be a wicked squatcha.
It sure is.
It's going to be pretty hot out there.
Yeah, definitely need your sunscreen if you're going to be outside. But it should feel pretty nice.
Yeah, the good news is the hot weather, if you like the hot weather, it's going to continue on and off throughout the week.
It is.
Which is a great time of year. A lot of people are on vacation.